Heroes and a bro fist to all you bright, shining, wonderful people. It's a good day. It's going to be a good daily. I feel it. I feel it already. It's going to be a good daily. It's going to be pretty damn good. And you know why? Let's start off with a bang. I'm going to be a bit of a douche now. Come here. Come here. Come on. Are you coming? Or are you going to be asleep? He's asleep. He's asleep. Come here, Ben. Come on, buddy. Come here. Good boy. Ugh. Everybody, I want you to wish the most valuable member of Preach Gaming happy birthday. He is 1 year old today. It's been a year since you first saw him on a web show. Yep, 1 year old today. Oh yeah, you're old now. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. He's been on a big ass walk. He's getting a steak later. He's really tired because he's been on a big ass walk. Do you want to go back to sleep? Yeah? Okay, you can go back to sleep. Thank you for showing up, making an appearance. Go on, buddy. You can go back to sleep now on the couch. Happy birthday to Ben. Ben is awesome. If I ever feel creatively stumped or I just need to get out of the house, good excuse. Walk Ben. And he's generally quite a cheery little dog. It's fucking awesome. So happy birthday to Ben. I almost forgot it was his birthday. At least Emma keeps tracks of these things. Moving on. Okay, so 5.3. Where do we even start? Where do we even start with patch 5.3? God, things are getting wacky. Things are getting really, really crazy. Things are getting, like, completely fucked. Things are changing in a really dramatic way. I kind of need to mention PvP, right? I think we'll have to go in with the big one. First of all, this big news. Trispec. Trispec. It was only like a month ago that I read a tweet from GC, the big ghost crawler, who said definitely not. Certainly nowhere in the near future. Absolutely, definitely no. No, 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 no. Trispec. Now, it hasn't been confirmed. This is something you need to know. It's not been confirmed, but the spell has appeared in the game files. The ability to unlock Trispec has appeared. It's there. It exists. Okay? It's in the game. This doesn't mean we're going to get it. It doesn't mean. There's a spell that was data mined in vanilla that we didn't get till Cataclysm. Nobody's going to fucking get it. There he is. He's awake. If I ask you to guess which spell it is, no one's going to get it. Not a single fucking person is going to get it. It was Mass Resurrection. Mass Resurrection was in the game in vanilla. The file, the spell existed in vanilla. Mass Resurrection was there. But we didn't get it until Cataclysm. But it was in the game. It existed. It was people found it all the time. And it's one of those things. They don't really make this mistake anymore. They don't really do this anymore. They don't really add new spells to the game that they're not going to use. Right? In vanilla you can kind of get away with it because you were making a brand new game. Oh, we should have Mass Resurrection. We can have things like this. And we should fucking do all this kind of stuff. But it never made it into the game. So in vanilla, you could get away with having good spells like buried into the game somewhere. Heroic Leap was another one. It was discovered a long time ago, Heroic Leap. But they kept dropping it out of the game. They don't really do that anymore. They've gone out of their way to actually create Trispec. Now, they've made it now. But is this only for PTR testing? That is entirely possible that they've done it for PTR testing purposes only. I'm going to be on the PTR tomorrow. I'm not going to be streaming it. I want to do some recording. I want to try some various things out. I want to get my fingers deep inside. And then I've got Brewmaster and Mistweaver stuff and Windwalker stuff to do for the rest of the week. I'm kind of busy now. But I'm going to be on the PTR tomorrow trying out all these kind of things. So I'm going to see what happens. What happens in there. But Trispec, good thing or bad thing? I don't understand why we're holding Trispec back. Why is it a fucking problem? It's such an arbitrary thing now to go and respec. It used to be that respeccing was the biggest gold sink in the game. It was a great way to keep the economy flowing, okay? They need to suck money off players somehow. Otherwise, people just keep building and building gold. So, respeccing was a great way of doing that, especially as it used to raise the price every time you did it until it started getting into ridiculous amounts of gold. Especially in vanilla, respeccing, and even the Burning Crusade, was a really expensive thing to do if you did it on a regular basis. But that's not the way the game works now, and it hasn't for a while. It really hasn't for a while. It's gone back to this... It's that part of the year again. It's happened again. Oh my god. It's happened again. No! Go home, son! Nobody wants you here. Nobody wants the sun here. Nobody wants the sun here. It's come back. It's been like a year. It hasn't come full circle. It's come back again. Why are they holding it back? I really don't know. I really have no idea why we're holding it back. We can change glyphs on the fly. We can change talents on the fly. Why hold it back? I don't know. So I'd be glad to see it. But in before... Where's my quad spec for the Druids? Oh, in before, right? Where's my quad spec? Because I'm a Druid. Why are you punishing Druids by giving everybody else the ability to spec anything they want, and Druids can't? In before that one. Will Druids get the quad spec? That is actually my biggest issue now. I don't even care if we get tri-spec or not. I can live without it. But if we do get tri-spec, and Druids don't get quad spec, I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to be laughing a lot, because that's really going to make me laugh. Fuck you, Druids. Fuck you, Druids. Right, okay, so I've got a little bit to cover. I want to talk about these things before we get to the scenarios and so on and so forth. Druids, fuck off. Coming up there. Removing resilience from gear, buffing PvP power, all this kind of stuff is pretty normal. The big one for me, which I actually thought is kind of interesting, is that your gear in Battlegrounds is going to be normalized in random BGs. Not in the rated BGs, but in the random BGs, your gear is going to be normalized, much the way it works in challenge modes. It's going to be, everybody's going to be pretty much the same level. Good or bad? Good for fresh geared people. Kind of sucky for people with a lot of PvP gear who just like blowing people up. I guess it's kind of like the twink argument, isn't it? I don't like twinks, but twinks are very, very overpowered. Very, very sillily overpowered. Even though people with the best possible PvP gear are incredibly twinked compared to a fresh person trying to get his gear. He just gets mullered. He literally walks into a BG and gets his ass stamped on constantly. I've been there. It's not a nice experience when people just two-hit you and that's it, it's game over. So they're going to normalize it. I'm kind of okay with this, but I'm okay with it from the perspective of somebody who does a BG once every couple of months. I don't farm BGs for gear. I did it recently for the Warrior. Hated it. As for a person who doesn't enjoy a lot of PvP and who can't be asked, I have no interest in farming a full set of PvP gear. I really don't care enough to do that. I don't do it enough to warrant that. I'm not that interested whatsoever. It's good for me. It's good for me. Who's it bad for? It's hard to say who this is actually bad for. It's only bad for people who just want to crush, right? That's the only people it's bad for, is if you want to crush players. If you really want to stamp their fucking guts out. I imagine via gems and stuff, you're still probably going to do that. You're naturally going to have a lot more PvP power. That was one of the effects of challenge modes, is although your gear was normalized, gem slots and stuff weren't. So you're probably still going to stomp anyway. I'm kind of okay with it. I think I'm pretty okay with it. I am okay with it. I have been, as if you've seen my original PvP movie, I've been in the position where I stomped people for fun. And I made ridiculous groups where I would have just healers and Wind Fury and just literally troll around the BG, just tearing people's heads off. It was a hell of a lot of fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I imagine, though, for everybody else, it was actually a really grim time, is that I would approach them, swing my sword, and take their head clean off their shoulders. And for that perspective, it probably wasn't that fun. Led to a lot of whining and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting. This is only for the random BGs. Obviously, Arena will be unaffected. Rated BGs will be unaffected. It's really for the guys who are going in, farming some gear, not to just be stamped all over as if they were twinks. I'm kind of okay with it. People are going to go crazy. They're going to go crazy. I don't think it's a bad change. I actually think it's pretty good. So I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think on that one as well. I think it's actually pretty good. Right, heroic scenarios. We kind of need to talk about this. I mentioned it yesterday, but that daily is not going up on YouTube because it was a brief one. As you guys know, I was working heavily on Way of the Warrior 2 yesterday. And yeah, the new scenarios coming in. This is one thing that's going to make or break the content for the next expansion. It's going to make or break what we do for content. Some of the heroic scenarios are open. They're open, so I'm going to be doing them tomorrow. That's when I'm kind of going to be giving a good feedback. I've got the workshop tomorrow, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of scenarios. I'm going to film a few of them. Wipes or success, doesn't matter. I'm going to film them, my first go in them. I'm going to do them completely random, ideally, completely random with whoever turns up. And see how it goes. See how it goes, just as a random heroic scenario. Now, we kind of touched on yesterday the idea that they're giving really good rewards, like Raid Finder quality gear. I can only imagine that is going to be equivalent to Throne of Thunder gear. Why wouldn't it be? Otherwise, it's just not that tempting, right? It has a chance to give you that. So probably not a great chance, but a chance nevertheless. And it's going to decide whether 3-man content that can be queued for by anybody. This is the solution. Before you get into the idea that it's a case of, oh, 3-man is less than 5, so queues will be longer. The whole idea of scenarios is that they can be completed by 3 DPS. That is a good and bad thing. Firstly, it's good because they're always really fast. You never really wait for a scenario. You just queue and you're in. The bad thing is they can never be particularly difficult. It's just impossible for them to be that way. If they are rewarding us in such a way that it's really, really good, in such as you're getting Raid Finder gear, really good Valor points, they're super fast, they're not difficult, then they're going to be spammed. That doesn't make them good content. This is where you need to provide your feedback. So I really want to reinforce this. If you go on the PTR and you don't like something, don't go in with the attitude that I already don't like this before you queue. Right? Don't be that guy who's like, oh, I hate it anyway, I'm just going to queue and then I'm going to give my feedback. Or I'm not even going to queue and just give feedback. Do it, see what you think. Is it something you would do because the rewards are so good? Like, you will do stupid things if the rewards are really good. Nobody would really complain about daily quests if you got, like, heroic elite gear, right? You wouldn't really complain that much because the rewards are kind of worth it. If it's a case of that, you need to submit that feedback. But is it a case of these things are shit? They're absolutely fucking shit. Dog shit, in fact. But they're worth doing anyway because the rewards are so good. That's the kind of thing you need to do. You need to be feeding this back. Are they dog shit or not? Because if these are really successful, we're not going to see 5-man content in the future at all. And I kind of like 5-man content. I really do kind of like that. Good thing about 5.3, they're not changing the classes too much. They seem pretty happy with where they are. I kind of think that's going to change. I have a gut instinct that certain classes are going to be changed again for patch 5.3. I'm kind of looking at the monks. I'm kind of looking at rogues. There's no mention of any rogue nerfs. Now, before you all cry, I kind of think there might be. I kind of think there might be. I also think Affliction is probably going to get nerfed again as well. I kind of think this is going to happen. I really think this is going to happen. But I'm not going to talk too much about this yet until I start seeing something. But my gut feeling is they're going to do that. These changes are pretty early. This is very, very early days. Very, very early days. Of course, I'm looking for a PvE perspective. And I'm watching for it in before, right? In before this happens. I'm pretty sure that it might actually happen. So, I will be on the PTR tomorrow. I'll give you all my feedback then about what's going to happen. There is another subject I wanted to cover today, which is kind of interesting. And then we're going to have a bit of a question time at the end. For quick info, the big weekly video is done. I'm going to talk about that at the end. That's my second to last subject. The World First Race, of course I'm following it, right? I'm a big proponent of PvE. I love it. I think it's the best part of the game. I think it's what the game is based around. I think PvP came later, which it did, and kind of had some bad effects and good effects at the same time. But the World First Race right now is kind of in a shambles. From what I'm told, anyway, from what I'm told. And this is from both sides of the coin. This is not just from people in Method. This is also from a couple of guys in Blood Legion who I do speak to, as much as they would not like to admit it. Lei Xian. I kind of want to talk about this because there's an interesting thing that might happen now. Does anybody know what the problem might be? Or what could happen that's really going to be spoiling it completely? There's something that could possibly happen in the next few hours, and that's going to fuck it. Yeah, as Thanos said, what happened with the twin consorts was kind of bullshit. If you don't know what happened, their health was stealth nerfed by 15%. It's a lot. If you watch the videos of both Blood Legion and Method killing the twin consorts on Heroic, I actually prefer the Method one, not because of fanboyism, but purely because they openly laugh and they one-shot it. And they're like, this is a disgrace. This is nothing like what this boss was like a few hours ago. that we spent our time doing. It was stealth nerfed by 15%. That's a lot of health, considering the numbers of health now. So far, Lei Shen hasn't been killed in 25 heroic. Doom Paragon, of course, managed to kill it in 10. The servers are about to reset. If not, the US servers might be down already. I'm not sure. It's possible Lei Shen, the last boss, technically, of the new raid tier, is going to be stealth nerfed. The reason for this is not because they don't think that guilds will kill it in another reset of gear. It's very possible that the boss could be killed by the best guilds in the world if they have another reset of gear. Because that's a huge difference. Someone calculated that the item level adjustment across it was just so dramatic. The problem is this. The world first guilds aren't who gets catered for. It's not. Heroic content tends to be tailored for the guilds well below those guys. If the world first guilds can try it, God knows how many times they have tried to kill that boss in the last 2 weeks, or the last week, in fact. They cleared Twin Consorts at the very last reset on the first day. That's a big problem. It's a really big problem, because the likelihood of the other guilds catching up to that level of gear and being able to kill it is not cool. It's not cool at all. It's actually really bad. And this is a problem. This is kind of a major problem for the design of the encounter. Now, what do you do if you're Blizzard? Do you shit on the 1 or 2 guilds? Or in fact, how many? Let's refresh. Who's on it? Who's on it? Let's be fair. Let's be fair. Who's that? Number 9. So these 8 guilds currently progressing on it. 8 guilds in the world. Do you shit on 8 guilds for the sake of everybody else? The answer is yes, you do. Yes, you do. You shit on them. And you ruin the world first race, because the amount of people who care about that is limited compared to the amount of people who are going to be facing it in the near future. It kind of spoils the race, and I'm a big fan of the race, because if Lei Shen does get nerfed this reset, then it's basically the US will win the race, right? Because their servers will come up first. Naturally, that's just the way it will happen. They will clear to Lei Shen first and probably kill it first. Purely because it's now significantly easier. Our servers and the change won't come up till tomorrow, and therefore the methods and the apexes won't be able to catch up. And the entire race is worthless. Now, there's 2 problems with this. One, it's a real spit in the face to the guys who do that kind of raiding, which is their choice. Don't ever let this be a different way. It's their choice to take part in the race and to dedicate time off work and so on and so forth to do the race. The other problem is your big names. Now, big names are actually important in a game. They are. They're actually people who get looked up to. These are the names that resound throughout the gaming community. These are the pillars of who people are. These are the guys who people look up to. And it's actually really important that you have players like that you have guilds like this, these names that mean something. And the World First race really matters in who is that name going to be. It doesn't matter if this race is ruined by a nerf or not. Most of the player base, let's suppose Lei Shen is nerfed in some way tonight. Most of the player base will have no idea that even happened. All they will know is the winner. Now, this matters for a number of reasons. Not only because these guilds actually gain like sponsorships and stuff from that, but more importantly is they just lose all face. They are second best, regardless of whether it's their fault or not. And they've also piled a lot of time into this. It's an interesting situation. I know both guilds have made progress on the fight. I can tell you that for sure. They've made progress and they believe they might be able to do it. So is it going to be left alone? And then once the World First is done, then you can go ahead and nerf it. Or do you say it's broken? You've already got one guild in 10-man who is already working on Raden moving forward. Interesting idea. It's a strange thing that could really spoil a lot of things. A lot of people follow the World First race. It's a great, exciting time for a lot of people who are into PvE and raiding guilds, is to see how these guilds are doing, to prepare for what is coming up for you. If you are a heroic raider, what is coming up, where's the brick walls, that kind of thing. You like to follow it. I like to follow it. And when it's spoiled, it really does ruin it. It really does ruin it for a lot of people. The whole race is just a joke. It's a waste of time. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's hope Raden is fine. Let's hope this big mega uber boss is fine. But Twin Consorts wasn't fine. There were some bosses on 10 that weren't fine. And obviously Lei Shen isn't fine. Believe me when I say, if that boss has not been killed now by those guys, who will put in more attempts this week than a normal guild, even a heroic guild, will have put in probably 2 or 3 months or something crazy like that. They've done more wipes in the last week or so, especially on reset day, than most of the normal guilds in the world will do over a few months period. They've already done all that. Then there's a problem there, isn't there? There's a problem. There's a huge problem because they really want to kill it. They don't so want the items. They get a lot more from it. They get to visit things like BlizzCon. They get to go to tournaments and events. They get to show their faces and be, oh, that's them from Blood Legion, or that's them from Method. They have the world first. It matters. It does matter. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how this one goes. I really hope they don't nerf it tonight. Let the world first happen. Let the world first happen. Let's see who gets it. Maybe another Gear of Reset will do it. And then nerf it down afterwards if you do need to change it. And that's okay. That's fine. And don't destroy the effort those guys have put in. That's what I really hope for. Before we go into question time, I just want to talk about this week's video. I've done the video. I previewed it, well, part of it for the stream before we started. It seemed to go over quite well. I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy with it. It took me a lot of time to actually sit down and bury myself balls deep into this week's video. And it's the top 5 Trolly bosses. It's kind of an awkward name for the video that I've made because these bosses are when Blizzard trolled the players. Okay, they trolled the players back. And it was more of a look, and I want you guys, when you watch it, if you do watch it and you do follow the YouTube channel, is to understand that this is actually a look at how the creative process in WoW has changed. And it's changed rather dramatically because I had to do a lot of research for my videos. I go back, I think about it, I think about bosses I've done, things that interested me, what could be cool, oh, this happened, that happened. And putting that together, there is a distinct change in the design of the bosses in terms of how much fun it seemed the developers were having and the audience they were making them for. One of the great things about Vanilla and even early Burning Crusade, which we'll look at in the video, is that the audience hadn't really been set in stone. These defined groups of players weren't really there yet. It was kind of absurd when you saw a guild using flasks in raiding. It was back in late Nax Rammus. It was kind of absurd to see that. And then into TBC, we saw people stacking endless amounts of potions. If you didn't know, in the Burning Crusade you could wear flasks and as many potions as you wanted. I mean a lot of potions. A tank would have somewhere in the region of 8 or 9 potions on him per pull in 25-man raiding. That's how many they would have before they fixed it and changed it. You could have a flask and 8 or 9 potions, which disappeared every time you wiped. They would then have to put them back on. You can imagine that raiding was pretty expensive. So all these kind of early noobish errors were being made by the developers, and they had a lot more fun. And you can see how the design team has changed from a team of people who were making content that they thought would be fun to a team of people who've made content that they believe the audience wants. Very, very specific difference there. Things they thought would be fun compared to what the audience might want. It's very serious WoW now. As much as it shouldn't be, it's actually pretty serious, especially in terms of raiding. People take it very seriously. We've got people taking time off work, hitting it hardcore. People are getting things like sponsorships. People are being flown around the world. All this stuff is happening. It wasn't happening in Vanilla. They didn't expect the game to last a year. No, World of Warcraft's never going to last a year. It's not going to last a year and a half. You fucking kidding me? No one's going to play this shit game. Let's just make bosses that we think are pretty funny. Right? That's what the devs were thinking. They never thought 10 years down the line they'd still be making expansions and 10 million people are still playing the game. No, fucking no chance at all. They just figured out, what the fuck, this boss will be funny. Look at Nefarian, right? Nefarian is such a wonderful example of this. An end boss. An end boss. Picture this. An end boss in World of Warcraft. The last boss of the big dungeon that's just been released. The Blackwing Lair. You've got Cremagus in there, Razorgore, Vilestraz, all these big names are all thrown into there. Lashlayer, tough fucking instance. Nefarian is the biggest fucking joke boss ever made. And you know what? It's fucking awesome. Absolutely fucking awesome. It's so good. But it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I love that. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's giraffes and bears running around on the bus. This is and people are turning into fucking cows. It's not uncommon to watch a Nefarian video and suddenly see a cow walking past your screen. Or suddenly your shamans have just turned into giant giraffes, bigger than Nefarian himself. Right? This is the last boss in the dungeon. This is the big guy. This is the big cheese. And there's giraffes walking around. Right? They made everybody wear a blue cloak. A blue cloak. You had this big epic cloak, right, that you worked your ass off in a 40-man raid. 40-man raid. And you finally got your epic cloak. You're not wearing it for the last boss. You're putting on your blue one. And it has awesome stats on it. It's got 10 stamina, 15 fire resist. And you've got to wear it because there's one spell in the whole fight that can kill you if you're not wearing it. And that's it. And you can't change it either. So fuck you. It breaks hunters' bows. There are things in that fight that are so fucking ludicrous, they would never happen now in modern serious WoW. They would never happen, especially on an end boss. What if the big problem, the guild, let me put this situation to you. What if Lei Shen wasn't being killed right now? Because the whole raid was randomly turned into murlocs and started dancing. Do you think that's why those guys are wiping? Do you think that's what's happening? Do you think the big problem is he has an ability that suddenly turns everybody's weapon into foam swords if you don't do something quick enough? Do you think that's what's going on? Of course not. But that's what happened in Nefarian. All the rogues got trapped in front of him and burned to death. It's hilarious. Healers killed the tank. Shamans spawned totems everywhere. Warlocks caused infernals to rain from the sky. This is brilliant. This kind of stuff. And it's hilariously fun. And it makes the whole experience so much more enjoyable. It's something that just doesn't happen anymore, and I wish it would, because you can see back, and I did this research, and I went back, you can see they just had fun. These are like, oh, you know what would be really funny is if the hunter's bow broke. Let's just say that he shouts at hunters, and then he just breaks their ranged weapons, so they have to melee. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, it would be funny. For us, for the developers, it's hilarious. For the hunters that have to go melee, it's not that fun, but fuck it, you know what I mean? This game's only going to last a year. Let's just have a blast while we do it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But they're not really there anymore, because it's all serious and business-like, and Lei Shen has to shoot you for 1 billion damage, otherwise it's not fun, it's not hard enough, it's boring, boring, boring. And all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that I really liked. Those have gone soft? I don't think so. I think they've gone hard. I really do. I think they've sacrificed a little bit of their own fun to make bosses that are cool. There's nothing wrong with the Throne of Thunder bosses. I think they're really cool. But there's no silly element. Just something really stupid. Like, the last really stupid boss I can think of that had something just completely ridiculous, I think was XT, and it was just because of his voice. Just because of his voice. Other than that, it was definitely in TVC where we saw some really stupid, just idiotic things happening. Just really crazy, stupid fucking things. Tortos is kind of silly. Not really. Shooting the shells to stun things. No, not really. It's not on the same level as giraffes and breaking your weapons, right? I think XT. XT, just because of his voice, was nice and silly and stupid and a lot of fun. But it's kind of good to see that, because in the video that I've done for you guys, I focus a lot on bosses that killed you a lot. They were really hard. They were really, really hard bosses that wiped you a hell of a lot. But you laughed every time you died. You laughed every time you died. So it's like Blackheart the Inciter is in the video. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy from Shadow Labs. He's a 5-man boss from Shadow Labs, and he's a fucking asshole. But I tell you what, I've wiped on that guy dozens of times. Every single time I wiped on that guy, it was so fucking funny. It was hilarious, because I either wiped on that boss because we would get mind controlled, and all 4 of us would beat up the healer. We would just spank him to death, right? He's just spank him, and then you beat him down, and that kind of stuff is fucking crazy. But it was funny. It was absolutely hilarious when that happened. You all got mind controlled, and you all killed the healer. A lot of the videos I looked at for the footage were of people killing their own pets. Hunters that just killed their own pets. They just stood there and just whacked away at their own pets until it died. Oh, they just all turned to one poor guy and just beat him up. And I loved that. But you wiped. Of course, you had to run back. But it was fun. It was always funny. You always kind of laugh. Right, I am going to start taking questions now. I'm going to take any questions. I know I left early yesterday. I'll take any questions about anything that's going on that you want to talk about. And a quick reminder, it's Workshop Wednesday tomorrow. Workshop Wednesday on the daily tomorrow. We're looking at workshops. And also, I'm going to be on the PTR tomorrow. So maybe I'll have some mentioning of the PTR in tomorrow's daily, but more than likely Thursday. More than likely Thursday. Are Shadow Priests any fun? Yes. I am absolutely loving my Shadow Priest right now. I mean, adoring it. I can't explain how much fun I'm having on him. Every time I play it, I learn something new. Kind of something I've missed for a long time as a super PvE nerd is that you learn something new. Things that you think are normal and you attribute to the way the class should work aren't really how it should work, and you try crazy different things. I also went total nerd and started spreadsheeting the crap out of it to check certain things and disagreeing with websites a lot. Disagreeing with websites and what I was doing, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was pretty awesome. Our enhancement chancellors, like, I don't really want to answer questions about like what is this class doing in DPS. You guys can all type in worldoflogs.com, right? You can all do that, and you can all find what DPS your particular class and spec is doing. You can all do that. I've done that for you many times. I've done videos on how to do it. If you're worried about your particular spec, just go and check it. It takes you 2 minutes. But I have a spreadsheet on why I should get the legendary. Best times. Best time. Should I bother coming back? Absolutely, Ben. Absolutely. And I'm not saying that because of the channel or anything like that. I'm saying that because Mr. Pandaria is really shaping up to be the best expansion WoW's ever had. It's in good shape, man. It's in good shape. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I'm leveling a tank. Any advice? No fear. Don't be afraid as a tank, especially while leveling. It's really hard for you to die in a tank while you're leveling. Really hard. Unless you're like a monk. I died on my monk tank while leveling, purely because of roll. I was so far into the dungeon and pulling so many things that by the time the healer caught up, it was like 3 or 4 minutes. You know, you can see the dot coming along the map and the healer's finally catching up to you. I was so far down the dungeon, and that's when it became a problem. I think that's pretty cool. Better than TBC? Yeah. I'm doing just to give you a heads up, I've got a lore video. I'm just looking at my board now. Oh, that I can't ever show you guys, obviously. I've got a video coming up, which is a lore video next week. Hopefully Monday or Tuesday. It just comes on the week. You guys know that. After that, I'm doing something called Rose-Tinted Goggles, where I'm going to be taking an in-depth look at the older things in WoW and disproving some of the old memories people have. A lot of people look back at Vanilla and TBC and are like, oh, it was glory days. It was the best thing ever. It wasn't the case. It really wasn't the case. So I'm going to do like a weekly video based around that theory, so you can get into it. So we can look at those things, especially for those who go do it. How does one get into heroic raiding? Make sure you record yourself playing. World of Logs is the easiest way to do it. It really is. Back yourself up with a good World of Logs. I've done a workshop on how to join a raiding guild and applications. I still need to write the applications, put them on a website. At the minute, I'm kind of focused just on Way of the Warrior 2. It's hard to distract myself away from that, to be honest. I'm loving it. But I will get around to it. I will get around to it. But it's about World of Logs, and if you can record yourself playing, you can do it entirely for free now. You've got programs out there like XSplit Beta, like the open broadcast stuff that can record yourself playing. Putting a video of yourself playing in and showing the confidence to do that is a big winner to get started on the heroic ladder. Why don't they update the old models of the races rather than making new races or classes? I mean, look at the way hunters run. They are doing, as far as I know. As far as I know, the old models are being updated. They are being updated, so I wouldn't worry about that. Oh my god, Christians. Why are they nerfing SSC and TK? Because they don't give a shit. They want people, if they want to go for transmog gear, they'll go and do it, and they're not bothered. With Warriors being so strong at the minute in a DPS role, do you think they might get a feeling I'm not doing my full potential? I'm always near the bottom. I don't think Warriors are that good at the moment. Some people might disagree, but from what I've seen, Warriors are not that powerful. Let me just check a couple of things here. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Warriors are not that powerful. In fact, then somewhere near the bottom, when we're comparing best player against best player, they're somewhere near the bottom. Meet that. Are you going to give me a shitty advert? No, good. Okay. I'm looking here at 3 warriors in the best gear available in the game, and he's around the Ellie Shaman. He's number 17th on DPS. 17th on DPS. That's one of the best geared warriors in the world. So, I don't think they are. Am I from London? No, I'm not. Thoughts on Disc Priest no longer be able to crit heal? I haven't read that. I haven't read that. I'll catch up with that on Thursday. Interesting, Genji. I haven't read that yet. This is really hard. Thoughts on Mistweaver Monks? Need a buff. Oh, this is really hard. Questions for you. When 5.2 Prot Warriors coming out? Prot Warriors didn't change. The 5.1 guy still stays the same. I might do a video particularly looking at shield barrier versus shield block, because people still can't really get their head around how both of them interact. I might do a video looking at that particular issue, but in general the playstyle stayed exactly the same, so nothing to deal with. Yeah, just to point out, the times have changed around most of the world, but not in the UK. I believe they changed this weekend. I think it's on Sunday, and then we should be back to a normal schedule. I know a lot of you are tuning in late or early, depending on where you are in the world, because of daylight savings. Has changed. It has changed. I'm bored to death in game at the minute. Been playing every role since I started TBC. I'm now bored with my warrior. Consider to do with me hating the race I'm playing. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Race that you're playing can have a major effect on your fun in the game. I can prove this 100%. I did not enjoy playing my Shadow Priest until I race changed him, and then I had an absolute blast. It literally put me off playing it looking... I was a Goblin Priest on my Shadow Priest in the leveling live stream February. I hated it, and then I race changed it the next day, had an absolutely wonderful time. Absolutely wonderful time, and I've enjoyed it ever since, and absolutely adore it now. I really just did not like that. Protection Warriors are fine. Absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with them. My friend made a newly found guild. He is the guy that got me into this game and wants me to start raiding with him. But his girlfriend is in a guild and will be raiding also. How do I say fuck off nicely? He's a friend. A newly founded guild. Give it a blast. At least you'll be with friends while you make mistakes. Unless you're an old school raider. He's the guy that got me. Unless you're already in a good solid position and say, I'm fine where I am. So he should understand that, right? I'm fine where I am. A friend will understand if you're fine where you are. If you're not fine where you are, you've got nothing to lose. You might as well go in there, get some items. And if things don't work out, then of course you can move on. The video I was playing at the start will be up on YouTube in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I love playing my Guardian Druid, but I just feel my utility is lacking. And I don't like feeling I could be doing a better job if I was a Paladin or a Death Knight. Should I be considered a reroll? I wouldn't consider a reroll for a number of reasons, right? I've re-rolled tanking classes repeatedly throughout World of Warcraft. Repeatedly. I changed from a warrior to a feral druid. I played a DK. I've played prop paladin in raids as well. Sometimes something is overpowered. Sometimes something else is better. That is just the way it works. If you look at... I was a druid on bosses like Chimeron. On Chimeron, I was absolutely vital to the raid as a druid, as a guardian druid. Then on other bosses, let's take Spine of Deathwing, warriors were overpowered. And then you look at another boss, paladins are overpowered. Then another boss, then blood DKs are overpowered. Every time I re-rolled, I regretted it. If you love your guardian druid, if you have a great time playing it, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. You've no need to re-roll, okay? That utility will come from elsewhere. Unless you're playing a really ridiculous comp. In which case, that's the problem. If you've got like a feral druid and a guardian druid and 3 feral druids, that's your problem. Not you being a guardian druid. If you love playing a guardian druid, stay with it. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Any other questions before I go? My friend is telling me that DPS monks are getting crazy buffs. It's on sale at Steam at the minute. Can someone confirm? I'm not seeing anything so far. Not seeing anything about monks. I kind of think monks are going to get crazy buffs though. As I said earlier, I think monks will get a crazy buff. My main is currently a hunter, but I want to reroll another DPS class. I was thinking Shadow Priest or Mage. Any preference for me? I don't know, man. Though I'm not really going to push anybody towards a class. It's not really in my best interest or your best interest to tell you what I like. I don't like mages too much. I love Shadow Priests. It could be entirely different for you. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Why discount Warlocks from that mix? Any particular reason? Or even a Shaman? It's difficult for me to push somebody towards something I like because there are lots of people out there. Let's take Enhancement shamans. A lot of people out there love enhancement shamans. I personally can't stand them. Really, really dislike them. So it's a real preference. Mages for the win. Boom combustion. What is the best way to get into PvE for someone who's new to WoW? Level 90 Hunter. Firstly, take your goddamn time, okay? If you're new to WoW, unless you have some serious MMO background, you're likely to be really bad. That's fine. Don't panic, okay? You're likely to be really, really bad at WoW. That's cool. We have Raid Finder and stuff to work on our being able to play. That's all good. I would suggest, first of all, take your time. You're in no big rush. We're likely to get the next expansion announced pretty soon. Right? The next raid, which should be 5.4, will be the last raid in World of Warcraft. Don't even be worried about riding out this expansion, just learning how to play. It took me years to learn how to play, okay? It took me years. You probably can fast forward it, watching my workshops and things like that, and get to a decent level pretty quickly. But don't be in a rush. Make your aim something feasible. Like, by the next raid, which is patch 5.4, I would like to be in a guild doing normal modes. Set yourself a goal like that. What you don't want to do is join WoW. Now I'm going to be in Blood Legion or Method or something. That doesn't work. It takes time to get there. Aim to be somewhere realistic, like a normal mode guild that's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well. Perhaps a 25-man. I would really recommend you aim to be in a 25-man normal guild. There's quite a few that have started up due to various buffs recently. But first of all, get into Raid Finder. Just practice, 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 practice. Don't turn off your damage meter. Make sure you're doing things like using all your spells, all your cooldowns, and then you're going to reach like 90% threshold of what your class is capable of. I'm talking from a DPS perspective here. If you're healing or tanking, it's slightly different. Get used to doing that. Once you're comfortable with that, then start recording yourself playing. World of Vlogs, there's a video on my channel of how to set it up. It's really easy. Record yourself playing, make a nice application. I've done a guide for that as well. Everything you need is on my YouTube channel to get you there, okay? Next time. You switched to 25-man a week ago. Absolutely adore it. Cool. I never release what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, especially when it's workshops. Do I play PS3? Yes, I will. In fact, I'm debating what to play on Livestream Friday. I will be live streaming on Friday. I'm debating, maybe I could put a vote on Facebook of what you guys think I should play. I have a number of games that I've not played yet, and I have. One of them is, I finished Dead Space 3, as you guys might be aware. I'm kind of going to do a little video on that. There's some good and bad points to that game. I've got Bioshock 1. I've never played it. Heavy Rain. I've never played that. It's just sat on my floor. And LA Noire. I've never played that either. So I've got those 3 games that are kind of at my top to play next. So I can maybe look at your recommendations of what I can play, and I can live stream them. It doesn't matter if it's PS3 or not. I can do all those. Bioshock. I don't play Heavy Rain. It's boring. Bioshock, then Heavy Rain sucks. Okay, well, we'll see. I might put something on Facebook and you guys can decide. I just kind of, on Friday, I've kind of had a hectic week making WoW videos, right? But I have been working a lot of hours this week already. It's only Tuesday. So on Friday, I'm just going to chill out. So I'll be sat on my couch playing a console, talking to you guys, or I'll be at the PC talking to you guys on Friday, which should be pretty cool. Any update, get back into raiding? Right now, I don't give a flying shit. I did last week. Right now, I couldn't give a fuck. And that sounds really weird, right? About raiding right now. Couldn't give a shit. You know why? I'm loving Way of the Warrior 2 right now. And it's enormous. I mean, I've considered on a number of times that Way of the Warrior 2 is bigger than what I can make. That might be the case, but I'm going to try anyway, because fuck it, right? It's my channel. I'm loving it right now. And it's big. It's really big. It's really, really big. So, right now, raiding is just like, I don't care. I'm going to use Friday as my release time to let my brain cool down a little bit. But I'm kind of working till whenever we finish the daily. Then I kind of relax a bit and I either go to the gym or I continue writing. Either way, I'm working till like 9, 10 o'clock. But yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun writing at the minute. I love writing and it's really cool. So yeah, I'm hoping to get it done. And for a cool few, don't ask me about names. All my characters are called Preach or Swobu Swaggins. So you're asking a guy for name advice? All my characters are called Preach or Swobu Swaggins. Are you asking the right guy? Ask yourself that question. Are you asking the right guy? Probably not. Probably not. What happened to the good old-fashioned 25-man guild? 9 to 10 spams in trade chats or recruiting for 10-man, 25-man is more exciting personally. I'm not sure where the question is in that. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more questions because we're getting on to time. I do want to go to the gym this evening. Yes, Drama Friday will go on as Friday as normal. I always stream throughout the day from 9 a.m. I know it's a bad time for you guys in America. I'm really sorry about that. I stream from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. Okay, so that's like six hours. Or I start about 8, anywhere between 8 and 9. But by 9 I will be streaming till 3 p.m. Then I take Ben for a walk, and then I do the daily. Okay, so I have that kind of schedule when I'm doing that kind of stuff. To give you an idea of what my schedule is, so what to expect on my YouTube channel is Monday or Tuesday is going to be the big video. Hopefully, right? I start work on the big video on usually a Saturday. It takes me about 4 days to do the big video. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, or unless I do really well, I finish it on the Monday. Wednesday, Thursday should be some kind of guide, update, or something interesting I want to make regarding World of Warcraft or maybe some other game. And then Friday, I generally don't release anything unless I got something extra made, because it's Drama Friday. Everyone loves Drama Friday, and Friday I just like to kick back in general. But Monday, Tuesday is kind of big video day, and I've got to fit some Way the Warrior 2 time in there as well, so that's kind of doing it. Yes, it is still snowing. It's still snowing outside. It was snowing when I walked Ben. It's all good. Okay. Can you try to explain how to improve as a tank perspective as well? That is a good question. It's the best question so far, actually, because that is not easy to answer. It was like the healing question. I don't know where you would go right now to improve as a healer. I don't. I got the ability. I had a break yesterday for about an hour, and I did a couple of 5-mans on my Druid, and I got the level to do LFR. So, of course, I'm going in, right? And I did 41k HPS just spamming like Wild Growth and Rejuve. I didn't even think. I was kind of half asleep. I'd been doing Way the Warrior 2 all day, and I was going to continue to do it after I finished. And I did 40. I out-healed everybody with 41k. Not a great deal. I was at the end, but all I did was spam Wild Growth and Rejuve. It took no skill whatsoever, no pre-planning. It's kind of hard to do that. Tanking, I still think 5-mans are the way to go to really challenge yourself. Is to go 5-mans. Lots of different situations, learn everything, how to counter everything, and then go as fast as humanly possible. It's nice to get a guild group together. Threat is a non-issue, so stupidly so that I tanked for Darkstorm mains the other day on my 430 Blood DK. I'm not saying some people didn't die, but when people are doing sort of 200k DPS on the trash, that can happen every now and again. But overall, it was a very successful run, and kind of idiotic that I could do it in many ways. I'm talking really idiotic. There'll be all sorts of hell. Look out for the web show on Saturday. I know some of you are already working on characters for Way of the Warrior 2. I'm going to be releasing the ideas behind like 4 characters on Saturday, and we're looking for guys to transmog into them. So remind you of what we've already talked about is a menacing looking dwarf male who looks battle hardened. He has to be a dwarf male. And we're looking for what could essentially be infantry uniforms for Horde and Alliance that is very, very easy to get. As in, I could say to you right now, if I want a transmog that makes everybody look uniform like soldiers, that I could literally say to you guys right now, you need it by tomorrow, and it's not a problem. It's like, okay, I need to be in game for like 5-6 minutes. Something like that. That's what I would have to be doing. Do you think it's worth it to level an alt if you know you won't get gear? Yeah, I personally, if you want to get better at this game, it's worth experiencing every role to understand what the other guys are doing. Alts in Mr. Pandaria is not a nice thing. You're unlikely to get a lot of gear doing so unless you're supported by some guild. But generally give it a try, especially other roles. So if you're a ranged DPS, try melee, try tanking, try healing, just to know what everybody else has to deal with. And then you'll just be a better player on your main. When am I coming to the US servers? When I have time. When I have time. I'm not going to put a time on it and disappoint anybody. Alright guys, it's been nearly an hour. I'm going to call it there. Thank you for some good questions. It's Workshop Wednesday tomorrow. Look forward to it. I hope you guys... I haven't actually checked them yet. I'm going to check them this evening. How many workshops have we got this week alone? I kind of want to bring up the issue of emails. In the last 3 days, I've received 150 emails which are individual questions about World of Warcraft. I can't possibly read or answer these. I'm not sure what to do because you guys are taking time to send me emails. Everything else gets sorted into drama and workshop and things like that. Everything else gets automatically sorted and questions go somewhere else. I'm really just not sure what to do. I don't know. I need to think on this. I'm just getting so many now. It's getting stupid. Alright, guys. Be good. I will see you soon. Alright, bye. Bye.